Here we're given a polynomial f of x, it's a cubic function, and we're asked to use the factor theorem to show that x plus 2 is a factor of f of x. That means we can divide f of x by x plus 2 and get 0 remainder. And to do that, all we need to do is to show that f of minus 2 is equal to 0. That's what we need to show. So where did I get minus 2? Minus 2 is the value of x that will make this expression 0. So if you say x plus 2 equals 0, x equals minus 2. So it's f of negative 2 that we need. So we need to substitute negative 2 into every occurrence of x. So if you substitute that in your function, you'll end up with minus 16 minus 28 plus 20 plus 24. And you can calculate that and you end up with 0. So that's what we were looking for. We were looking for 0. Now we know that it is 0. We can say, therefore, x minus 2 is a factor of f of x. So I think I should have said x plus 2. So x plus 2 is a factor. Now, the next part of the question is asking to factorize f of x. Factorizing it means writing it as a product. So we need to write f of x as a product. So f of x equals x plus 2, which is my factor. So that, again, that should have been a plus, multiplied by something. And the question is, what is that something? What is the something that we need to multiply by x plus 2 to end up with f of x? That's what factorizing means, is to write f of x as a product. So to find that, we need to divide f of x by x plus 2. So it's polynomial division that we're going to need. So we need to divide f of x by x plus 2. X plus 2 is the factor that we found, or in this case we're given, and f of x is the polynomial. And in polynomial division, what you want to do is always divide the term with the highest power by the term with the highest power. So you're going to divide 2x cubed divided by x. So 2x cubed divided by x. So that's going to give you 2x squared. So that's your division. You then multiply 2x squared by both of these, and you write that product here. So that will give you 2x cubed plus 4x squared. Then what you do is you subtract. You subtract what you've just multiplied from this. So naturally, these two, because they're the same, you should get a 0. So you should always expect to get a 0 first. And then negative 7x squared minus 4x squared will give you negative 11x squared. Now the next step is a division. But before we divide, we have one term here and two terms here. So we need to bring down the next term. So you bring down the negative 10x, and then you carry on. So you divide this term by this term. So negative 11x squared divided by x is just 11x, or negative 11x. Then you multiply. So we multiply 11x by both of these terms. And then you subtract. So we're going to subtract minus 11x squared from negative 11x squared. You should always get a 0. So the first term should always be 0. And again, negative negative means positive. So minus 10x plus 22x is 12x. And again, before you divide this by this, you need to bring the next term down. So that's 24. And you divide 12x by x, and that will give you 12. Then you multiply 12 by both of those. And again, you subtract. Now, these are now the same, so you end up with no remainder. And that's what you expect, because this too is a factor. So if this is a factor, then when you divide it, you end up with the other factor, and therefore there should be no remainder, and we have already established that the remainder is 0. So now you can rewrite f of x as the product of this multiplied by this. So therefore we have now found that. So we can now write f of x equals x plus 2 times 2x squared minus 11x plus 12. Now the question did say factorize completely. So we factorized it, but this is still quadratic. So we can still factorize it, or we can still attempt to factorize it. So let's see if we can factorize this into two linear terms. So 2x squared is the product of 2x times x, and a plus sign here and a negative sign here. The positive sign here means that both these signs are the same, and because that sign is negative, then both sides will be negative. And 12 is either 6 times 2, or 4 times 3, or 12 times 1. And because we have an 11x, it's fairly clear that you're going to have a 3 and a 4, so that you can have an 8 and a 3, or a negative 8 and a negative 3 that add up to 11. If this isn't clear, a little bit of trial and error. You can try with the 4 and 3, that won't work. Try 6 and 2, that won't work. Keep trying until you get your negative 11x. So just to be clear, minus 3 times x and minus 4 times 2x, that's minus 8x, together give you minus 11x. So now this is 3 linear terms, 1, 2, 3. I can't factorize it any further, so now it's been factorized completely. So that's all you would need for the full mark. So there's quite a lot of work. You need to do some polynomial division and factorization.